Why don't men go to therapy, man? I've begged so many
Because it's
people.
not their style.
Alright, so today's video is not a reaction of some kind, it is rather my opinion or my lived experience on the current state of men's mental health or therapy in this country. Why is it that therapy is not good or not advisable or not a favorable choice of Indian men? I mean, this is the idea I have been battling for a while now. Why is it so that Indian men are so adamant on improving upon their emotional, intellectual or overall spiritual health? Well, let's find out all about it. Gentlemen, my name is Mayank Bhattacharya. This is Men's Essentials, Life Essentials. Let's roll.
Try to make you uncomfortable. For the record, you ain't try to go and stuff for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't try to make no child away.
Now, hang on, a quick disclaimer before you start throwing me down in the comment section. I have personally, academically not studied psychology per se. I don't have a degree in it, so I cannot be a certified therapist to give you the much needed gyan in the realm of psychotherapy. I can only share through my experiences to whatever I have gained through my lived experiences and what are my current opinions on the state of men's mental health, the need for therapy or not, and how could men in today's day and age, especially from the tier 1, tier 2 cities who do have a lot of emotional and intellectual distress, can make the most out of it, can make the most out of therapy or any kind of psychotherapeutic process to help them live a more productive, creative and a confident, happy life. That's my outcome. That's the only damn goal of this video. Now, that being clear, that being said, let's get into the reasons of why Indian men absolutely despise going to the damn therapy. You see, therapy or mental health or emotional health for men is a very different realm when compared to the way a woman would process her emotions or her intelligence. I mean, I kid you not when I tell you this. It is not that men hate going to therapy. You will be surprised by the number of guys who actively seek help to solve their emotional stress, to solve their intellectual stress, to solve their life stress on a daily basis. It's just that they don't know how to seek the right therapist or seek the right help from the right person at a given state or time in being. And just like finding a good personal trainer, finding a good coach or a therapist also takes some quality time. You'll probably have to go through 2, 3 or multiple therapists to find somebody who gets you, who can actually talk to you, who can actually listen to you, who can actually feel through your emotions and solve for your problems proactively. Because one of the things I remember this lady saying in the video was that the therapy is not the failure. You not giving therapy a shot is your failure.
If therapy didn't work for you doesn't mean the therapy does not work. It only works if you want to make it work.
Now that's a very gaslighted way to probably make anybody not a fan of therapy, but what I would probably disagree and agree here in this case is therapy is not the failure, probably the therapist is. So if you are probably going to the gym and if you would want to train or if you would want to have some body or physical strength goals, if you aren't able to get to that goals, it's not that weight training is bad. It's just that that personal trainer sucks ass. So you need to fire your trainer and need to find a new one who can actually get you to your results the way you would want. So it's not therapy's fault. It's not the weight training's fault. It's actually the guy who is selling you the course of therapy at the very first place. So you have to use your money wisely and you have to use it to your advantage all the time as you may please. If you ever come across anyone in your life who's trying to gaslight you into buying his or her services, then you will have to start running away from them. That's my problem with the current state of desi coaches, desi therapists or desi life advisors, counselors or whatever you would like to call them. They would literally try to gaslight you into their services because they think there is nothing wrong in them and the services. It's just all you who is the problem and therefore you are not getting the desired results that you would need. I'll give you a very simple example. The gym that I work out at, my community gym, there is this beautiful couple, very alive, very joyful couple, very disciplined, very hardworking, very successful couple, probably in their late 30s or early 40s. The wife in this case is a hell of a lot more disciplined, a hell of a lot more structured woman. Probably few of the most disciplined women I've ever met in my life. She literally was the reason her husband even started coming to the gym. And she literally shows up to the gym every day without fail, like it is her damn routine. But the thing is, the issue is she has not seen any significant results in the last year and a half. And no, it's not that the gym or the weight training or the resistance training is anything bad. It is rather the trainer who is teaching her the very stupidest forms of weight training that she should fire at the very first glance. But she hasn't, because she doesn't know anything else otherwise, and the trainer has probably successfully gaslighted her into the whole idea of why do you want to lose all that much weight, why do you want to become strong, why do you want to have such objectives, such goals? You're just doing whatever you're doing fine, don't want to hurt yourself, don't want to injure yourself, and stay stuck in your average mediocre self, even though you're highly disciplined to make a change, to see a change, and to live your best life. That's my problem with the current state of therapists, coaches, counselors, or whoever you would meet. If you aren't the right trainer, if you aren't the right therapist, if you aren't the right coach, please have some audacity to let the individual go find somebody else who is the right fit. It is okay to lose out on some money, because you'll actually be doing a much greater good to that individual in his or her life in the long term. That's the point number one. Gentlemen, the second reason why most Indian men despise going to any form of counselors, therapists, or coaches is because these therapists or coaches either lack any form of basic intelligentsia or empathy as a whole. Most of these coaches, most of these therapists, or most of these counselors that I have even come across in my personal life lack any balance in their own life, for God's sake. So if you can't really empathize with a man, I don't care if you're a woman or a man being the coach or the counselor in this case, if you can't empathize with a man, and if you can't intellectually stimulate a man to his basic core intelligence, why would and how would he find his solutions coming out from your mouth?
Ask everybody who goes to therapy, when do you think will you be done with it? Because I cannot make this a constant loop where I pay somebody to talk to me and barely be interested hour over hour every week with no end game in mind. And that's also why for guys, decidedly after 10 years, and guys have tried, I've tried, I know all my friends, most of them have gone to therapy, it's not worked.
I mean, I personally started coaching a lot more guys in the recent couple of years, and it wasn't because I really wanted to, it was just because I really thought I needed to, because there was nobody else that could help me when I needed the dire assistance. So when I come across these guys and I ask them about their past counseling or therapeutic experience, the only or one of the most prominent thing they would say is, Mayank, nobody could actually listen to me the way I would want them to, and nobody could give me sane ideas to reflect upon, which will actually make me go internal, which will actually make me go inward in the right way to find the right answers. The job of the intelligence and emotions, when done in the right way, when done in a therapeutic way, is to make the other person introspect. I mean, this is a skill set. This is an absolute sheer strength that great therapists, great counselors, great influencers, great leaders, and great coaches have learned over the years. Either they have learned it or they have just got it by the birth that they are so greatly grounded in it. So that's the skill set that I see, that I've heard most of the apparent counselors or coaches or therapists that my previous clients have been to have suffered a lot in the recent past. So if the said client or the said man in discussion who is suffering a lot from his emotional or intellectual distress is not getting emotionally and intellectually stimulated enough so that he could get into the state of submission and groundedness, then there is no help on the other side of the call, or there is no help on the other side of the room that could help him go inwards, that will help him go introspective and find his solutions by himself. You can only instill the change upon a man, in this case a man, because this is a men's lifestyle channel. You can only inflict the change upon a stressful man, upon a distressed man, is when you can put him at an ease, at a grounded and at a humble state. When the mind is all over the place, when emotions are all over the place, no piece of shutting up and listening to their rant is going to help you ground them or make them look inwards. He can rant, he can probably be done with it, it'll probably be one of his sessions. But if you as a coach, if you as a counselor or therapist or anybody who is in this field is not able to make him look inward by your words, by your emotions, by your intelligence, then he'll just feel worthless after a point in time. There'll be nothing he'll take away from the whole experience, and it'll just end up costing him a lot of money and wasted effort in the long run.
Because I cannot make this a constant loop where I pay somebody to talk to me and barely be interested hour over hour every week with no end game in
Now,
mind.
don't get me wrong, I'm not generalizing every coach, every counselor, or every therapist here. That's not my agenda, that's not my goal. Actually, there are a hell of a lot more experienced and better coaches and therapists out there who actually have transformed so many men into becoming their 100 times more potential. Varun Agarwal, one of my favorite co-founders and entrepreneurs of the recent past, he was probably a serial entrepreneur back in 2015-16. He wrote a book called How I Braved Anu Auntie and co-founded a $1 million company, a Bangalore guy. I mean, he recently shared a post on LinkedIn stating that he had severe chronic anxiety and he was severely chronically depressed for the last 4 years. He literally had to go to therapy and that did fix him up. It did fix him up to his great levels, and now he's back at it, giving all his mighty entrepreneurial and life gyan, because now he's a much improved version and he has healed from it, and that was the courtesy of a very solid therapist. Tamne Bhatt has been through it. There are so many guys who have outrightly spoken about it and have seen the positive sides of it. I have had the best experience of my life in the realm of therapy by listening to probably one of my favorite psychiatrist or psychotherapist of all time, Dr. K. He is a Harvard graduate, an avid art of living practitioner, I believe, the guy who has mixed the eastern and the western side of psychotherapy to great extent. He has got a YouTube channel called Healthy Gamer. You can go watch his channel, you can see his content. You would realize what I'm trying to talk about when you hear him speak and make sense in the realm of a man's mental health and his psychotherapy. So you would see a lot of these guys. The reason this guy, Healthy Gamer, Dr. K, is so huge on YouTube is not because he's addressing to women's mental health or any of that. I mean, he does it too. He does mental health as a whole. But his channel, the channel's name on its own is called Healthy Gamer, where it focuses on men's mental health problems. And it has got like 3.5-4 million subscribers. Why? Well, because men need the help. It's just that they aren't able to find any. They apparently found one at the YouTube called Healthy Gamer, and now they're pouring in all the love and support because they're seeking the results from it. That's how simple, effective, and in demand is the need of psychotherapy, mental health, and emotional health for today's modern man. Anyway, moving on. Point number 3, or reason number 3 why Indian men absolutely hate going to therapy is because they don't even know, they aren't even aware that there is an actual tool, there is an actual process through which they can stabilize their mind, they can get a grip on their emotion and live a very happy, productive, confident life.
Why don't men go to therapy, man? I begged so many
Because it's
people.
not their style. Working out's better.
The same thing, pure absolute unawareness. But then when they do get the exposure, when people do talk about it, they do it in such a negative manner, they do it in such a demeaning or in such a gaslit manner that the guys who actually need help will not even want to get help from such people because they are not even able to address it like how a man would want it to be addressed.
आदमी ही आदमी का सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन होता है. If you love the gym so much, why don't you see therapy the same way? There is no end game in gymming either. I'm tired of saying the same thing over and over again as a therapist. If therapy didn't work for you, doesn't mean the therapy does not work. It only works if you want to make it work.
I mean, again, from my personal experience, I was this guy 15 years ago who absolutely hated going to the gym, who never even liked the idea of people going to the gym and doing curls for shitty reasons. I was this guy who used to run, I was a guy who used to play sport, and that was the only form of fitness I believed in. I know it wasn't because gym was bad or bodybuilding hurt anybody or powerlifting was anything for weak. It was because nobody could tell me, nobody could sell me the benefits of strength training the way I would have wanted it to be sold to me. Until that one very fine day when somebody did, and it changed my life wholeheartedly. The same thing happened with my approach to spirituality and meditation as well. Not until Sadhguru. I mean, there are so many of my friends who are active participants of Isha Foundation, who are active participants of Ramakrishna Mission Mount, who are active participants of Art of Living. They have been meditating forever, Vipassana and all these people. They have been meditating for 5-6 years and nobody could convince me to meditate until that one fine day when I was in this post-COVID phase. I think I had a borderline COVID or whatever it was, I don't know. But I was sitting through my desk, I was in the office and I came across Sadhguru's clip and he literally talked me into meditation. He said something that I probably needed to hear at that time, and that made so much more logical sense to me to probably get into meditation that I did seriously get into meditation. The same way Aaron Marino and Antonio Centeno could sell me into wearing nice clothes, taking care of my image and work towards my overall first impressions, presentations and skill sets. The same way RSD, Real Social Dynamics, Max Tornow and all these guys got me into the whole realm of social dynamics and communication because I absolutely sucked ass at it. I was so bad at communication, yet I did not even know that there was a need for me to improve because I wasn't aware, I wasn't exposed to it the right way as I should have been. The same happened with mental health to me as well. Dr. K, the one from Healthy Gamer, he literally logically talked me into therapy. He literally put me down in a place where I realized that there is a dire need for me to detach from my mind and emotion and treat it like an actual problem so that I could fix it going forward and I could live and gain back my confidence, my happiness and my productivity. So that is the reason number 3. Most guys do not know how to sell therapy, coaching, counseling to the men the right way. They try to do it in a very weird, negative manner where they'll gaslight the guy, where they try to force it down their throat. And nobody likes, especially not a man, they would not ever want things shoved down their throat in a very forceful manner. That's not how you instill personal growth. That's not how you instill self-improvement. And mental health, emotional health, or therapy of any kind is indeed a form of self-improvement. So you have to sell it like it is. You have to speak to a man like how a man would usually get it. Why is it so easy for somebody to sell fitness to a man? Have you ever wondered that? Why is it so easy for you to sell success to a man? Why is it so easy for you to sell something of the superficial realm to a man? Because the society has conditioned men into it, and it's a lot more easier to logically appeal to a man's mind that more success, more money, more muscle probably helps him win in this rat race of survival of the fittest. In the same manner, if we could teach men how to look good and why should they take care of their first impressions, why should they take care of their communication skills, why should they actively work on the way they present themselves, the way they hold themselves, the way their emotions and intelligence affects their productiveness and happiness, I kid you not, guys will start lining up outside therapists and coaches and counselors' office, because now the man knows that this skill set, this tool, if I learn now, I'll be able to handle my emotions and my stress and my anxieties and all sorts of internal fuckeries a hell of a lot better. So if you are a mental health coach or a mental health therapist or counselor of some kind, and if you do want men to take this part of their life seriously, expose them the right way, tell him that it is a tool to probably help them live a more confident, productive life, get a grip on their own individual life, and have absolute total freedom, total control of their emotions and intelligence, and therefore the total freedom of doing whatever, however, whenever they would want. This narrative, this idea, this philosophy is a very effective philosophy to make a man change. But lastly, fourth, probably one of the most obvious reasons why Indian men hate going to therapists is because they have been told that going to therapist is an absolute waste of time and they should rather be working on their finances, their fitness, their everything other than emotions or intelligence.
Working out's better because it's not their style. And guys have tried, I've tried, I know all my friends, most of them have gone to therapy. It's not worked.
I mean, that's the same as saying if you would want to learn how to talk to girls, instead of talking to girls, you go to the gym and build some muscle, and hopefully your muscle will help you talk to girls better. Gentlemen, that's probably the dumbest advice I have ever heard anyone give any man about fitness or social dynamics in total. If you would want to help a man get his body, if you would want to help a man get stronger in the gym, tell him to go to the gym and lift heavier weights. If you would want a man to make money, tell him how to make more money by getting a better job, by upskilling himself, by getting a better degree, or by starting his own business, or doing things that will actually put cash on the table. If you want to help a man get good at relationships, you'll have to teach them how to get good at relationships. Money, muscle is not the way you get good at relationships. You get good at relationships by learning the nuance of social dynamics, by building masculine empathy, by building your intelligence, your leadership skills, and everything else that leads to you becoming a romantic and social leader as a whole. You don't need money for it, you don't need muscle for it. So learn the appropriate nuances to further your self-improvement journey, to further your masculine development journey. If you would want to get a grip on your intelligence and your emotions, if you would not want to go through your mental burnout or the stupidity at the job or the loss of a business, whatever, then you would have to learn how to deal with your intelligence, your thoughts, your ideas, and how to manage your emotions at the same time, at the same place. If you don't know how to deal with these two things, you can obviously try to put it down under the carpet by going to the gym or by making a girlfriend or by making a lot of money. But the pent-up trauma that you will keep storing in via the unprocessed emotions and unprocessed thoughts, that will eventually lead up to something much more drastic going forward. It's just as a mental or an emotional cancer. If you would not take care of your diet, if you would not take care of the way you live your life, your active physical lifestyle, then you would not know cancer at the very first stage. It's very hard for you to detect cancer when it's at the early stage. But when it is at the third or fourth stage, it's too fucking late for you to save it. Don't let these two things get to the state where it is too fucking hard to save yourself. Learn the tools to protect yourself from the very get-go so that you never get cancer, because you're always working out, you're always eating clean, you don't have any shit addictions. Similarly, you know how to take care of your intelligence, you know how to not get succumbed to your thoughts, your emotions, get a grip on it, get a control over it, and live a confident, productive, masculine way of life. I hope this video gives you an insight into why I think Indian men hate going to therapy and why I think Indian men should actually look at therapy from a different lens altogether. Because therapy is never a problem, learning about mental health is never a problem, learning about your emotional health is never a problem, but letting somebody else gaslight you into shitty services because they think it is the right thing for you even though you know it's not working out, that's the problem. Treat them like doctors, treat them like personal trainers. If they aren't working well with your needs, your outcomes, your goals, it's pointless for you to stay stuck at it. So don't blame the process, blame the damn messenger who's trying to sell you the shit process, because his way of selling you the process is clearly not working out for you. Now, if you would want me to give it a fair shot and help you out with your emotional distress or mental fuckery, you can probably book a call with us by clicking the link in the description, sending us a DM on Instagram. Anyway, that being clear, that being said, gentlemen, don't hate the therapy, don't hate counseling, just hate on the counselor or the therapist. See you in the next one. Jai Hind. Take care.